What's going on, guys? Briar Rabbit here. Today we're going to be taking a look at this guy. This is the Dark Core RGB wireless gaming mouse from Corsair. And we're going to start off this review by taking a look at what the box says it will do. So, got 9 programmable buttons, contoured shape designed for long gaming sessions, onboard profile storage for lighting effects, macros, and DPI settings, which actually ends up being pretty important. All new high-performance Omron switches rated for 50 million clicks, so hopefully it'll last a long time, and dynamic multicolored 3-zone backlighting. It's also got, now this is also important, ultra-fast 1 millisecond wireless low-latency Bluetooth or wired mode for versatile connectivity, a custom gaming-grade 16,000 DPI optical sensor with 1 DPI resolution steps for precision and control, and onboard storage with hardware, macro, and lighting. So, what I like about this Mac, let me talk about how I use this mouse before we even start to review it. So, I use it for 2 reasons. I stream often, and I have a lot of wires on my desk. So, having a wireless mouse for my streaming computer has actually ended up being very valuable. So, this mouse actually pulls double duty for me. When I am streaming, it's up in the office controlling my streaming PC. But it also is a gaming mouse for me in the living room. I have an NVIDIA Shield set up in the living room, and I don't want wires for a keyboard and mouse going across the living room. I have pets, if they walk by, they'll get caught on the wires. Bad things can happen. So it's just nicer to have wireless accessories in the living room. So I picked up a Corsair K63 wireless gaming keyboard and this Dark Core RGB mouse, which is also wireless. In the living room, this thing has performed very well. There's enough signal to get across the living room with no problem when the USB receiver is plugged into the NVIDIA Shield. So that hasn't been a problem at all. It's also very responsive. Plugging this guy into the NVIDIA Shield or plugging a wired gaming mouse into the NVIDIA Shield, there's no perceptible difference to me. I am not able to tell that I'm using a wireless mouse other than the convenience of not having wires strewn across the living room. So in that regard, it's been very good. Also, when I'm using it on a computer, again, there's no perceptible difference to me as far as lag input latency is concerned. This feels the same as using a wired mouse when I'm using it in the office. And for that, I'm really thankful. That's true about the keyboard. That's true about the mouse as well. Now, you may have seen I recently did a video about keyboard latency, and I found that the wireless K63 keyboard only had about 15 or 16 milliseconds difference between a wired gaming keyboard. So I would assume that this is pretty similar because I would assume it's using the same technology because they're both Corsair products. So 15 or 16 milliseconds is imperceptible to me. Maybe you can feel it. I can't feel it at all. So in that respect, it's very fast. I have not used it in Bluetooth mode. I have, though, used it in the wired mode, and it works just like a wired gaming mouse when in wired mode. So with that being said, let's take a look at the mouse itself. Now, there's a couple of really cool features to the mouse. Obviously, you can see that it is RGB lit. It says there's 3 zones. You can see the logo is lit. There's a little bit on the side here, the scroll wheel here, another bit on the side. Where your thumb rests is actually a button right here. This is 3 buttons. There's a back button, a sniper button, and a forward button. And then there's 3 lights for the DPI setting that change depending on what DPI mode it's in. And if you hit the sniper button, it'll change color as well. The mouse itself is actually very comfortable. When I rest my hand on it, I tend to prefer a wider mouse. My primary gaming mouse is actually the Corsair Scimitar, and one of the reasons I love this so much is because it's so wide, most of my hand actually sits on the mouse itself. Compare that to something like the Logitech G502, and you'll see that my pinky is actually hanging off of that thing, and my ring finger somewhat is too. So this mouse, to me, isn't as comfortable because I have to kind of scrunch up my hand like that to use it effectively, and it's just not as comfortable to me. Again, your mileage is going to vary. Different people have different shaped hands and prefer different grip styles on a mouse. This mouse to me is fairly comfortable. The way my hand sits on it, I like it quite a bit. Now, one of the nice things about this mouse is it is customizable. This side plate here is actually attached magnetically. You can see there's a couple of holes there. There's a couple of screws on the side panel that attach to magnets inside the mouse. And it also comes with this extra side plate that kind of has a rest for your pinky and ring finger. So you can attach that using the magnets, maybe. There we go. And you can see it becomes a slightly wider mouse. Now, all of a sudden, your pinky is resting on that, and it doesn't drag across the mouse mat anymore. It's a nice option because it's fairly easy to remove and take off, but for the most part, I think people are going to figure out which one they like better, put it on there, and then lose the other part altogether. I prefer this one. The one with the side plate on it actually cramps my hand a little bit more. There's just less room for my pinky and ring finger to be. So I do prefer the just kind of flat side. I want to talk about the back here. It's got kind of a textured, soft touch grip to it. I don't know, it feels nice. It looks a little weird, but it feels good. The switches are very satisfying. They make a pleasing click sound. The scroll wheel is a little bit soft to me, where it's a little hard to, if you're using it to switch weapons or you just want one kind of click to it, you can feel like when you move it, you can feel like the segments of the wheel. So it is kind of like bumped in a way. You can feel them, but there's not enough of a distinction about when it stops. There's not enough of a difference between, you know, one click and another click in the scroll wheel. So I'd like a little bit more kind of distinction there. Got a textured surface that also feels pretty good and gives you a good no slip grip. One of the biggest downsides of this mouse I find are the side buttons. The side buttons are a funny thing. This one is the sniper button. All of them are customizable. You can change the buttons to do whatever you want. The side button here is very easy to hit, and this back button isn't too bad either. You can either move your thumb to hit it with the tip of your thumb or use kind of like the knuckle on your thumb to smash it in kind of like that. But the front button, even though my thumb kind of rests over there, the way it's indented, I'm kind of trying to show you how the sniper button rests above it. But that front button is very small, and it's kind of hard to hit. It's actually very hard to hit for my thumb. So what I find is that I can't really hit it repeatedly without kind of squeezing the mouse pretty hard. And sometimes that results in me hitting other buttons on the mouse by accident. So I really don't like the design of this, even though initially, when I first saw this design, what it reminded me of was almost like a control pad on a controller. Like, I thought that maybe you'd see like a left button, a right button, a middle button, a down button, and an up button. I think that design could be improved really well to give you a ton of button options all around this center button. But these buttons need to be bigger, more distinct, and easier to hit. Next, let's take a look at the software, the IQ software provided by Corsair that actually controls the mouse. So you can see here, you can look at your actions. You can assign any of the buttons to basically do whatever you want. You can remap the key to be a letter on your keyboard, a number, function keys, enhanced keys. You can set up macros. You can launch applications. You can basically do anything your heart imagines with any of the buttons on the mouse, which is very nice. So if, for instance, you want, this to be a switch weapon button and this to be the jump button, you can do that. You can change the sniper button to be your melee button. It really is up to you how you want to control your game with this mouse. And it's very easy to set all this up in the IQ software. I've used Q software. I think it was called Q software before the IQ software came out, and it's gotten better over the years. It's much more intuitive. It's much easier to use. Also, a nice feature with the IQ software is if you have multiple Corsair products that all have RGB, you have this little button at the top that says instant lighting, and you can instantly change, all of the RGB on your system to match instantly. You can also go down here to lighting effects. You can disable the instant lighting, and you can control each zone of your mouse independently, depending on what you like. So if you want to do rainbow, you can do rainbow. You can do color pulse. You can set it to random colors. You can set it to alternating colors. What else we got? We got color shift, which will again go random or alternating. And I think the last one is a static color. You can just set it to be one static color. In the DPI settings here, you can set up 4 different DPI settings: the default, the next level up, and the 3rd level. And then it's also got the sniper settings. So you got 4 settings. You can assign a button to be the sniper button. So, you know, like if you pull out a sniper, you can instantly have higher DPI for the sniper. It actually comes in huge handy in certain games like Sea of Thieves that I play, where the sniper is very slow to control. So you want that DPI to be way higher. For performance options, you can set your angle snapping, lift height, enhance pointer precision, and your pointer speed. Last thing, we're going to go up to settings here. And if we go to this device's settings, you can set the brightness of your RGB up here. You can update your firmware. You can enable sleep mode. And you can also set the time at which the sleep mode activates, which is very useful to save batteries. The batteries on this guy, in my experience, last, for me, with the RGB on, about 24 hours. With the RGB off, you know, a few days. So the RGB, you know, disabling the RGB does tend to help the battery life. Now, I do use the mouse quite a bit. When I'm streaming, I'll stream anywhere from 4 to 6 hours at a time. I'm constantly using the mouse. And when you're gaming, obviously, you're constantly using the mouse as well. You can also enable this power saving mode, which turns off the RGB. I'm not sure if it does anything else to the mouse to save power, but it definitely turns off the RGB. And turning off the RGB, I have found, does definitely save some power. You can also put a battery gauge in your system taskbar to kind of monitor that as you go. And if you lose pairing with your USB wireless receiver, you can initiate that through there. The Corsair software has gotten better over the years. It's nice because if you have multiple devices, it kind of has them all in there for you. It even has your power supply. But it's very nice software now. Out of the box, the mouse also comes with a 6-foot-long braided cable for charging or for using the mouse in wired mode. It also comes with a couple other accessories. It comes with this little female-to-female extension or male-to-male extension that you can actually fit on the end of the charging cable. Now, this is a micro USB charger, which is unfortunate. I wish they'd chosen Type-C or a reversible connector because, you know, these things are very small and this hole is very small, and the charger on the mouse itself is very dark and under the mouse, so it's a little hard to figure out which side is up on that port. So I do wish this was a reversible connector like a Type-C, but it is what it is. So you plug this in here, and that allows you to actually plug the wireless module, the receiver module, into the charging cable like that. And what that allows you to do is, if your PC is in an entertainment center, or you have an NVIDIA Shield in an entertainment center and your wireless signal just isn't quite making it, or it's a little spotty, you can route this somewhere and kind of hide it somewhere where it has line of sight access to your mouse and gives you a little bit more flexibility as far as placement goes, which is nice. And if you are able to put this somewhere where you can also easily get to it to charge your mouse, again, that's very nice too. So this kind of just plugs in to the front of the mouse, and then that allows it to be used in wired mode as well as charging the mouse itself. So a nice system. I just wish that this was a Type-C connector that could go in either way. It'd just be a little more convenient in that manner. Aside from that, I gotta say I'm very happy with the mouse. There's a couple of things I'd really like to see them improve in the next generation of products. Definitely these side buttons. I'd love to see these side buttons, specifically this front one, much easier to hit and much more accessible. And I wouldn't mind seeing it be like a 4-way, kind of almost like a control pad on a controller. I think that'd be a really nice feature. As well as keeping the sniper button. Maybe make that sniper button a little bit smaller and raised, and then have these buttons on the sides raised as well, just to make them more distinct to your thumb and easier to hit. I would also like to see the charger be a Type-C charger. I think we're just kind of getting to that point where it'd be nice if everything was a Type-C, so no matter what charger you had lying around, you could just plug it into your device and it would charge. These micro USBs, the mini USBs, the regular USBs, I'm ready to be done with them. Even with the iPhone, I'm ready to be done with the Lightning. I just want everything to be Type-C at this point. Other than that, I've been very happy with the performance of the mouse. I'm very happy with the feel of the mouse. It's a very accurate mouse. It's a very quick to respond mouse. still used to, I'm old enough to remember when you got wireless accessories and they were controlled via infrared, or if they were radio controlled, the latency was out of this world. So to me, it's still fascinating that companies like Corsair are able to get wireless accessories with such little latency that it's imperceptible. And I really enjoy this mouse for the reasons I'm using it for. So let me know what you guys think about this review. Let me know what you guys think about the Dark Core RGB mouse. If you'd like to see more of this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.